Greetings, my name is Emily Fournier, and today I will be teaching the power of language. To firstly explain the power of language, the American novelist Nathaniel Hawthorne once said, "Words so innocent and powerless as they are, as standing in a dictionary, how potent for good and evil they become in the hands of one who knows how to combine them." This quote holds a lot of meaning in the power of language. But in reality, how relevant is it? Yes, it is true that language is a truly powerful form of communication and it spreads the focal message clearly, but language is far more powerful than just that. It's more than just a form of communication in the light of the fact that what we can do with it is what makes it so powerful. In fact, language can affect people's perception of the world. I will be explaining the power of language by showing how they understand it, how people question the world, and how they change it. To begin, how people understand the world. Language helps with how we understand our world. A biologist named Mark Pagel once said while hosting a TED Talk in July 2011 that language allows you to implant a thought from your mind directly into someone else's mind, and they can attempt to do the same to you and without either of you having to perform surgery. With language, humans can communicate and understand what the other person needs or what they want. Like a baby, for example, with screams, cries, and other random noises that a baby might make, they alert their parents of their needs and what they want. A baby with the inability to speak can get things to move. It's amazing just how much you can accomplish through the power of speech. Malala Yousafzai, a 17-year-old girl who believed all females and children should go to school, had a speech in 2015 where she said, "Unfortunately, there are many people who do not give this opportunity to children, either because they think children are supposed to work for them or that children don't deserve it. Either it's against our social taboos or it is a waste of money, and we have to fight against these mindsets." Now, focusing on that last line, and we have to focus against these mindsets. What Malala was implying is that the people who carry those type of thoughts are the ones who strip the children from a quality education. With her ability to speak and her speech power, she helps other people understand that the people with those type of mindsets are clearly and obviously in the wrong. She brought that truth into the light for millions of people around the world to see. For the second point, how people question the world. Now we know that our world is really complicated and it is normal that we feel the need to question it. Once we understand it, figuring out where we need to question it can be done with the power of language and speech. In the TED Talk with Mark Pagel, he talked about the story of the Tower of Babel, which is one of the stories that is featured in the Bible. He told the story and said that by using language, the people in the town communicated and was able to build a tower that goes all the way up to heaven. And then there was God who felt angered by that tower and destroyed it and gave everyone a different language so that they couldn't understand each other and rebuild the tower. The irony in that is that our languages exist to prevent us from communicating. This analogy of the story in the Bible had a lot of people thinking and questioning the existence of our many languages, and as there are around 6,500 different languages. In other words, it made people question if our many languages in the world were created and meant to keep us from communicating with each other. In the event that we did not learn the languages, there wouldn't be a form of oral communication today in our society. Back to Malala's inspirational speech, she said that 57 million children are out of school without a quality education. This fact troubled many people because the fact that it is a very sad truth that exists in our world. A lot of her supporters questioned the people with the mindsets who I have mentioned before. They questioned if the things the people with those mentalities said were actually right and if it was okay that those children were without a proper education. Now, depending on the conclusions those people came to, Malala started to get a lot more supporters and people on her side. Because of the power of speech, she was able to make people question some of the mentalities in this world and decide what was right and wrong. My last point is how people change the world. Since language is such a powerful thing, we can use it to change the world as well. Going back to Mark Pagel's TED Talk, he said that with our language, we can say things that can get us jailed or even killed. Things like, hate speech, or basically anything that would go against what most of the population believed in. He explained how with language comes a lot of power over people. For example, Adolf Hitler, the German leader in World War II. He had many supporters that agreed with him to do many horrible things, all through his power of speech. He had such a talent of speaking to the public that he was able to form an army of men who were called the Nazis to go and kill innocent Jews and build concentration camps. In order for him to be able to achieve all of this, he had to be extremely manipulative with his words. His ways with speech and language had changed so much for our world history. Then there's Malala, who had also changed a lot in our world. With her inspirational speeches, she managed to warm the hearts of many and has gotten them to donate over $1 million to her foundation. They gave her the money for her to fight and give that proper education to all those girls and children who rightfully deserve it. During her campaign, she lived by the quote, "The right to learning should be given to any child." That message, created by language, persuaded people to help her make a difference for the better in our world's education system. And finally, to conclude, language can affect people's perceptions of the world by how they understand it, how they question it, and how they change it. Without language, everyone in our world would just be lost and confused in the event that we didn't know how to achieve anything. Like most things, you can't do everything by yourself in light of the fact that you need the help and support of others to achieve your goals in life. And with the power of words and speech, we can achieve so much and create an environment that can be better for our world and help us build a beautiful and safe society. Thank you very much for listening.